Hi, I'm Jess. I got the opportunity to speak with Emma Cameron, who is a former UofG student. Emma studied the combined Masters in Environmental Geoscience and she is now working out in Antarctica with the British Antarctic Survey. Watch the rest of this video to find out how she got there and how her degree was at the University of Glasgow. Can you give me a brief introduction about yourself and what you study?
Sure. So I'm Emma Cameron, and I'm a PhD student at the University of St Andrews. So I study polar regions, and my project looks at how meltwater from the Greenland ice sheet affects ocean circulation in Greenland's fjords. But I did my undergraduate at the University of Glasgow.
And what did you enjoy most about your time at Glasgow?
Honestly, I think it was my friends. So I met loads of really nice people through my course and just in the university in general. So weekends used to go up to Loch Lomond, go hiking and things. So I think that was the best part for me.
What was your favourite module that you studied from your undergraduate and masters?
So when I was in third year, we had a great module called Oceanography, where you got to learn everything from how the ocean transports energy across the globe to whales and food chains. And I thought that was definitely my favorite one. In the master's year, my favorite part was the research project where I got to study shark teeth and collaborate with Deep Sea World in Edinburgh, and that was good fun.
Sounds so cool. What field did you base your dissertation on?
So at Glasgow, I did two dissertations. So in fourth year, I did one that was quite similar to my PhD, where I looked at ice-ocean interactions in Greenland, and that was great, and that did lead on to the PhD. But for my master's year, I did something totally different, where I collaborated with Deep Sea World in Edinburgh and the University of St Andrews, and we looked to see if shark teeth can be a proxy for ocean pH, which was really fun and it was quite exciting, and it was great to work with all of the different people.
Why did you decide to do an integrated masters at Glasgow, and what did you gain from this?
So I went for the integrated masters because for Scottish students, best part is that it's free, which was really helpful for me because it's a lot more affordable. But I'd known for a long time that I wanted to do a PhD. So I loved glaciology. I'd done summer projects on it, and that was something I really wanted. But there was that block with wanting the masters to get there, and so the integrated masters in Glasgow was perfect. It was the first time they'd ever run it. They need enough students to volunteer for it, but six of us went for it, and we had a really good year, and we got to work with SUARC, which is a big lab up in East Kilbride, and we did lots of research, and it was a really good experience.
How was your fifth year different to the rest of like the first 4 years you did as your undergrad?
So the fifth year was a very different year because there were only six of us in our cohort, and it was the first year they'd run it. And usually in the first 4 years, it's like any undergrad degree where you go to your lectures and there's lots of people, you switch your classes. But in that last year, it was a little bit more research based. So we got to go up to SUARC, the big research facility in East Kilbride. We learned laboratory methods, we went round. So it was a lot more practical. And a lot more of the year was based on our independent research project, which we got to plan ourselves and take much more of an involved role in our personal research.
So what sort of led you to wanting to study the Antarctic?
It's kind of hard to work out where it first came from, but as a teenager, I loved David Attenborough. We all loved David Attenborough, and I liked Frozen Planet, and they had the behind the scenes videos of the cameramen videoing the penguins, and it was super windy, and they'd have to go hide in their hut for weeks on end because the weather was so bad. And I thought, I want to do that. So I'm really excited that I get to go, but on a slightly more, I'll say grown up note, it's a really important region for climate change. So the polar regions are disproportionately affected by climate change, so they're warming up, and those changes kind of affect everybody globally. So billions of people live around coasts, and so sea level rise is really important for them. And so it's quite a meaningful topic for me to study, which is why I decided to do my PhD in
it. What sort of areas, like fields of study, will you be covering in the Antarctic?
So the team that I'm going with is called the TIME team. So it's part of a big project called the International Thwaites Glacier Collaboration. So Thwaites Glacier is a huge glacier in Antarctica. It's in West Antarctica. It's about the size of mainland Britain. And it's very unstable. And so it's really important to understand how quickly it's going to retreat so that we know and how to predict future sea level rise over the next couple of centuries. And so we'll be going out there to stay in tents for about 6 weeks, riding ski-doos and doing seismic surveys and ground penetrating radar to see the structure of the glacier at that place.
Sounds so interesting.
Thanks.
Do you have any advice for any current or future students?
I would say the piece of advice that I needed and tried to follow most as a student was to plan rest. So I tried to go at weekends to Loch Lomond to do something away from my studies that would help me enjoy the whole process a little bit more, which is onto the second piece of advice, which is just try to find what you're studying interesting. If you can find a way to relate to it or to get yourself enjoying what you're studying, it becomes a lot easier so you don't get bogged down too much.
Thank you. That's all my questions.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing this interview with me.
You're very welcome.